Ag Bioscience, the #1 ag tech podcast globally, is now available on video. Hear from leaders and innovators across food, animal health, plant science, ag tech, and agriculture. Mondays at 6 a.m. on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. While you're there, subscribe and leave us a review. It's the Ag Bioscience Podcast with Agronovis Indiana. Get more information at agronovisindiana.com.
The internet changed how we work. AI is changing what work gets done. A bank cut loan processing from days to hours. A student built an AI scheduler, improving on-time delivery from under 70% to over 90%. Most teams know AI matters, but aren't sure where to start. InAI is Indiana's statewide AI adoption effort, built with industry, academia, and community partners, helping you move from understanding to action. Visit inaiready.com.
This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for the afternoon of Monday, July 13th, 2026. I'm Alex Braun. The Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation on Friday announced the closure of Kentland Federal Savings and Loan Association in Newton County, billed as the smallest standalone bank in the United States. The U.S. Office of the Comptroller of the Currency named the FDIC as receiver for the bank, saying it acted after finding that the bank had experienced substantial dissipation of assets and earnings due to unsafe and unsound practices. The OCC also found that the bank incurred losses that depleted its capital. The bank is critically undercapitalized, and there is no reasonable prospect that the bank will become adequately capitalized. Additionally, the FDIC said it has entered into an agreement with Kentland Bank, a separate banking institution, to purchase the assets and assume the deposits of Kentland Federal. The STARTedUP Foundation in Indianapolis has announced Allie Lindenschmidt Curtis as its new CEO. Curtis, who joined the nonprofit in 2021, succeeds Don Wettrick, who started the organization in 2017 and will continue in the role of founder. The STARTedUP Foundation is an organization that focuses on cultivating the next generation of entrepreneurs and innovators. An agribusiness professor and dean at Vincennes University, who also operates a corn and soybean farm, has been honored as an Indiana Master Farmer. Susan Brocksmith is among the 2026 recipients of the award annually presented by industry magazine Indiana Prairie Farmer and the Purdue College of Agriculture to agricultural professionals who demonstrate farming achievements, strong conservation practices, and community leadership. From the #1 source for Indiana business news, this is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Thanks for listening to this IBJ Media podcast. You're probably going to remember this ad. Do you know why? Podcast advertising works. 85% of listeners recalled hearing an ad during a podcast, and 70% of podcast listeners have acted after hearing an ad. So whether you're looking to be heard across the entire IBJ Media Podcast Network, sponsor one of our shows, or just start with a 30-second ad, IBJ Media can help. Contact advertise at ibj.com to learn more.
10 years after opening across from what is now one of South Bend's busiest public spaces, the General Deli has become a neighborhood fixture through changing economic conditions, a pandemic, and a rapidly evolving downtown. In a Q&A for our South Bend Elkhart Region Report newsletter, co-owner Patrick Whitling said several factors have helped the business stay in operation.
A couple things, the pandemic being one. The second being Howard Park across the street from us was a $17.5 million park renovation. You know, they redid the street, they did the park project. That, along with the support you received from the government during the pandemic, helped us to really have exponential growth after the pandemic. If you would have told me that the pandemic was a good thing for our business, I would have laughed. We basically closed down, we did carry out, and we worked 14-hour, 16-hour days rehabbing our restaurant during that time. And because of the support, again, from the government, we did what we were supposed to do as a business, retain our employees. It allowed us to not only reinvest into our business, but then go to market after the pandemic with a much better product.
You can read the full Q&A at InsideIndianaBusiness.com. Governor Mike Braun informed state employees today that they will receive a one-time bonus in their July 29 paycheck, but they won't receive an ongoing pay raise even though state tax revenue collections have been strong. Executive branch employees will receive up to $2,500 depending on their time of service. Part-time employees will receive half of what full-time employees get. It will cost the state coffers about $80 million. South Korea-based SK Hynix began groundwork in April on its $3.87 billion semiconductor packaging plant in West Lafayette, about 2 years since plans for the project were first announced. In that time, demand for the next-generation specialized chips has only grown, a product of the boom in demand for artificial intelligence processes. But backlash to the SK Hynix facility's location, near residential developments, also grew among some in the community. Last year, lawsuits quickly followed a local decision to rezone the area for industrial uses. And despite construction starting, a judge recently set trial dates for December when opponents will argue to undo that zoning decision. Construction, however, continues to move forward. SK Hynix recently received a permit to build the facility's structure, and the city continues to make infrastructure upgrades as the company aims for production to begin in 2028. Indianapolis Fire Department Chief Ernest Malone is this week's guest on the Business and Beyond podcast with Gary Dick, presented by PNC, a weekly conversation with high-profile Hoosiers in business, sports and entertainment, and beyond. Available now on the IBJ Media app or your favorite podcast provider. I'm Alex Brown for Inside Indiana Business Radio On Demand.